Hello students, this is the Amardeep Singh, your computer teacher, and today we are going to continue with the same chapter, handling errors and exceptions in Python. In this session we'll discuss about debugging, Python debugger, trace and breakpoints to run a program into debug mode. So first we'll discuss about debugging. So as we discussed in previous sessions also, that a mistake in the logic of a program is known as logical error or bug. A program will be compiled and execute successfully but generate wrong output. So that means due to the availability of a logical error in a program, your program will run successfully but generate wrong output due to the wrong logic available in that program. So the process of finding and correcting the logical errors from a program is called debugging. Debugging basically is a manual process. So that means as a programmer, you have to detect the logical error and correct it manually. So that means system will not help you. System will not automatically detect the logical error, like system always detect syntax or exception type of errors from a program, but a system will not help you to detect the logical errors. So you have to detect your logical errors manually from the program by executing a program statement by statement and check the output of, or you can say check the value of each variable after execution of a statement. So that means if you want to debug a program, then you must have the a knowledge of complete logic of that program also. Next we'll discuss about Python debugger. As we discussed in previous slide that no language, or you can say Python, is not having any ability to detect logical errors automatically. So that means as a programmer you have to detect the logical errors manually by executing a program line by line, and you have to check the value of each variable after the execution of each statement. So but Python contains some tools that help you to run a program statement by statement and let you to check the value of each variable after the execution of that statement. In Python, pdb module contains commands and utilities to debug a program. Using Python debugger, you can do the following. So these are the steps that you can use for debugging a program. First step is set breakpoint at any point of a program. So that means by setting a breakpoint inside a program, you can move your program, you can run your program in debug mode, and we'll discuss debug mode in next slide. Then next step is watch program execution step by step. So as a programmer you have to watch the program execution of a program step by step. Look at a variable value and execution flow. So that means, so next step is after execution of each line you have to watch or look the value of each variable at that point, and you also have to watch the execution flow of a program. That after that, make a correction in logic after finding bug. So that means when you will detect the problem, the logical error, or you can say bug from a program, then you have to make a correction in that statement to perform debugging, to correct the to make correction in the logic of that program. We'll discuss about debug mode. As we discussed in a previous slide that to debug a program you have to enter your program into debug mode. So we'll discuss debug mode in this slide, but before discussing debug mode, we'll discuss about other modes also. Like we are having three modes actually. One is edit mode, second one is run mode, and third one is the debug mode. So first we'll discuss about edit mode. Edit mode is a mode where you can write or edit the code. So that means when you are as a program, when you are writing a code or editing the existing code, then your program will be in the edit mode. Then after that, run mode. when a program execute and generate results. So that means when you will, after writing your code, when you will press F5 to run that code, then program enters into its execution state. So that means that during the execution you cannot edit the program. So at that time the you will have to give input to the program, and the program will execute and process those instructions and generate results. Then next we are having debug mode. Debug mode basically is an intermediate mode in between these two modes. So program will be in a manual run mode. So that means debug mode is a manual run mode where you will execute the program, but after execution of one line, the program will wait for your signal to execute for to execute another line. So when you will press enter or give some instruction or give some command to execute the next line, then after execution of next line the program will wait for your signal, also wait for your command also. So that means during this mode it will wait for your instruction to run the next line. So that means during this mode you will be able to check the value of each variable uh, uh, of that program inside the statement that you are presently running in that program. So during the debug mode you will be able to find out the logical error from your program. Next we'll discuss about Python debugger functions. PDB module contains functions to enter a program into debug mode. So that means, as we discussed earlier, that debug mode means a program in its manual run mode where you can run a program line by line. So that means if you want to run your program into debug mode, then we are having some inbuilt library functions in Python, and that help you to run a program into debug mode. So that means those functions are available inside PDB module. So that means if you want to use functions, debugger function, then you have to import, or you can say include PDB module in your program. So to import some module in your program, we are having a statement, that is import statement. Then you have to write import is a keyword, and import, then after that the name of your module. So here we are having module name, that is PDB. So next we'll discuss about we are having actually in PDB module we are having so many functions, but we need one function, that is set trace function. Trace function is used to enter a running program into debug mode by placing trace or breakpoint in the code. So that means we are having trace or breakpoint. A trace or breakpoint is one and the same thing. So if you want to run a program into debug mode, then you have to place breakpoint inside the code while writing the code. So when you will write the code, you have to place trace or breakpoint, and we can place a trace or breakpoint inside a program by using this set trace function. So we can call this function, we can use this function inside a Python program with the help of this statement, that is module name, that is pdb dot set trace. When this statement will execute during the execution of a Python program, then immediately that program will enter into the debug mode, that is the manual run mode of that program. So let's demonstrate how to use breakpoint with the help of set trace function available in PDB module. So here we are having a program that is used to to calculate the reverse of a given number. So presently we are having this code, and when you will try to run this code, and I'll give 123 and the expected result is 321, but the result is wrong. So that means it's a bug inside the program, and that means a program is not having any syntax error, but the result is wrong. Program is running successfully, but the result is wrong. So that means you have to debug the program. So first of all, if you want to check the value of each variable, then you can't check that value during in this edit mode, because presently we are in the edit mode, program is not running. and during the edit mode you will not be able to check the value of each variable after execution of each statement, so you have to run this code. But during the execution mode, during the run mode, even you will not be able to check the value of each variable, because system will execute the complete code immediately. For example, presently program is in the edit mode, and we can't check the value of any variable, because values you will give the value to program when you will execute this program. For example, now when I will press F5, now the program is in its execution mode. When I will give my input, then when you will press enter, then program will immediately complete its execution, and you will not get the time to check value of each variable during their execution. So that means you have to uh, enter the program into debug mode, so that you will be able to uh, check the value of each variable after execution of each line. So that means you have to, if you want to run this program into debug mode, then first of all you have to import a pdb module, and I'll write import pdb. Then after this statement, save it and try to run this. Now module has been included in your program. So after giving input as a program, if you know that there is not any error in this first line, logical error, because this statement is just getting a value from user and store that value into n, and in next line we are not having, even not having any logical error, because as we have assigned value to s. The actual error is available inside this code, available inside the loop. So I want to uh, enter the program into debug mode when execution of a loop will start. So I will place that set trace statement inside this one, pdb dot set underscore trace, then brackets close. Now, so this statement is used to enter the program into a debug mode. It's also called a breakpoint or trace point. So by using this function, we can we can place a breakpoint inside a program, or you can say the trace point inside a program. When during the execution, so after saving, you have to run the program, and during the execution, when this line will execute, then the program will enter into a debug mode. So I'll save the code, then run this code, and presently the program is in execution mode, in its running mode. And when you will give input, then after getting input from you, then loop will start its execution, and that set trace function will execute, and that function will enter your program into debug mode. Now press enter. Now you can see presently we are in debug mode, and this code, these statements shows that we are presently program is uh, in debug mode, and presently running statement is a equal to n divided by 10. So that means on this program, on this statement, now the program take a pause, you can say take a break, and now presently the program is running, but waiting for your instruction to execute the next line. So that means a break mode, or you can say the trace mode or break mode, or uh, is the pause mode of a program. So that means as we are having three modes of playing something, one is play, one is stop, and one is pause. Stop mode means nothing is in the execution. Play mode means the system is in execution mode, that means the program is in running mode. And pause means the program is in it will stop that program temporarily, but presently in running mode, but stop temporarily and waiting for your instruction to run next statement. So that means In this way we can enter a program into debug mode. Now I will stop. If you want to stop this debugger, then you have to place a command that is quit, or you can place only quit Q. When you will press Q or quit, then press enter, then now debugger stop its execution. And that is all about how we can use this import pdb and this pdb set trace function. So in this way, by placing this statement inside anywhere inside the program, you can enter your program into debug mode. So it was all about the present session, and we have only discussed about how to set breakpoint, how to enter a program into debug mode, and in next session we'll discuss about how to check the values of each variable during the execution, what are the various commands used for debugging a program, how to detect logical error, and how to remove that error to make some kind of correction in the code. So that was all about this present session. If you people are having any kind of doubt related to any of the topic that we have discussed today, then